Hey guys, welcome back to the call room again. We have episode 6 already, and we're going to be joined by Amy Marren, which should be a great episode. I'm really looking forward to this one. So whilst we wait for Amy to join the live stream, I'll just say thanks everyone for tuning in and watching. Hopefully we can get Amy in here. Here we go.
She'll be popping up any second now. Not long till she comes in, hopefully. Oh, it's loading. I've got a loading screen. Hopefully she pops in here, otherwise this could be slightly awkward. I hope this isn't one of those things where everyone else can see both of us, but I can't see Amy. Oh, okay, I haven't got Amy, so if we just hold on a second. I'll try and add Amy back in. I don't know what's happening there. Try again. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, by the way. It's great to have you all here again. There we go. Could you see me?
Technical difficulties. I could see you, and I was moving my head, and I was like, I don't think anyone can see me this side. I was like, hello.
I couldn't see you, and I was like, hopefully she pops up any second now. How are you?
Oh my god, yeah, good. Actually, really happy with this whole lockdown news that's just been on. Oh, I don't know about you.
Oh yeah, the news. I thought you meant really happy with this lockdown. I was like, what?
No, I think I'm the same as everyone, pretty over it. But I feel like today's announcement kind of felt like a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Because I don't know about you, I was thinking, oh my god, it's going to be guaranteed like up until the new year now, basically locked at home. But actually, not so bad.
Yeah, well, you just don't know what they're going to say, do you? So it's quite nice to have some positive news, I suppose, this year.
It makes a change, doesn't it? It makes a change.
Definitely. So, do you think it's too early for Christmas yet, or what's your feelings on that?
Well, my Christmas tree's been up for 2 weeks. I am.
Oh, well, okay. You're on the Christmas train then.
Absolutely. I love Christmas. So this year I was like, we've got nothing to look forward to, so I'm just going to string it out for as long as I can.
Fair enough. I get it. I was saying to my mum earlier, maybe this is the year we just go for it.
I said that, and I was like, Mum, it's my first year that I've retired from swimming, and I've got Christmas. So like we was looking around, I was like, oh my god, I can get like these biscuits and this cake and this and this. I was like, and I went to the competitions the week before. Like, so it's a bit weird.
Amazing.
It's a bit weird.
Yeah. I think we should probably crack on with it then.
Yeah.
I love all this Christmas talk though. So first of all, I'd love for you to introduce yourself to everyone watching. I'm sure they know, but it's always good to get a highlight reel, I suppose, from you.
So I am Amy Marren. I am a retired double Paralympic swimmer. I competed in London 2012 and Rio 2016. I retired February time this year. And that's about as much of an introduction I can give, really. Just trying to kind of like tackle and navigate this whole new life that I'm trying to make for myself.
Of course, yeah, and even just in that short introduction, like what an introduction to have, super impressive. So I think I know this is going to be an interesting chat for sure. The first question I like to ask, and people that are watching hopefully know it already, is what type of call room athlete are you? And whilst I give you time to think, anyone that's new to watching this, the call room is the room where athletes go before they compete to get mentally, physically prepared to race at their best ability. So, Amy, what type of call room athlete were you?
I was definitely chatty, particularly towards the end of my career as well. I think early on in the day, I listened to my music, kind of headphones on, head down kind of thing. And then the older I got, the more mature I got, I realised it was okay to be talking to people in the call room. Like, actually, it was quite nice to have friends and then sort of race each other in the pool. But for some reason, all my call room chats will end up talking about like farts and poop and all that stuff. Like, I don't know what it is with swimmers. Why is that a thing? Why does it do that?
Swimmers are a different breed. I'll give you that one.
Definitely, but yeah, like I said, definitely chatty towards the end, which was really nice. I think it kind of took the nerves away from me, just realizing everyone else was kind of feeling the same.
Yeah, I agree. I think I love to be chatty and joking, so it definitely calmed me down. So I definitely get that. I'm sure we would have had a good time in the core room together then, because there's those people you don't really want to go near.
Honestly, funny you say this. So I actually remember you, one of the very first British champs I went to, and you're in the call-up room, and I was like, because I think my mum had been talking to your mum or something, and your mum was like saying all about your achievements, and I was still really little and really young and new to it, and I was like,
was I an idiot then?
You were just fun. You were just fun. I remember there was a whole group of you that I kind of associate with my very, very early days. And yeah, you guys were just fun. Like, you're up for having a laugh. It was nice. It was nice.
Oh, well, that's nice. That's a nice memory to hear, because yeah, I'm glad I wasn't an idiot. Well, I suppose I was an idiot all the way through, but I suppose a funny one, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. Right in the mood. I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's I mean, it's nice to have all the different personalities in the courtroom, but we definitely both fall into the having fun category, which is great. So quick fire round. Don't think too much about it. Just whichever one you want to choose, go for. So, morning training or afternoon training?
Morning training.
Were you a racer or a trainer?
I'm gonna say trainer.
Okay. That's impressive considering what you did in racing, but okay. Race outdoors or race indoors?
I never raced outdoors.
Didn't you?
No, because Paralympic, the IPC basically made the stipulation that you had to, even if you race outdoors, you had to have a cover over the pool. Visually impaired athletes. So the closest I got, we went to Worlds in Canada, but like I said, they had a big canopy over the pool. There was thunderstorms and all sorts, so it was pretty fun, but just indoors by default, I guess.
So training outdoors? I'm guessing you trained outdoors.
Oh
yeah.
Suntan training.
Tan lines.
Amazing.
Tea or coffee?
Tea.
Nice, I like it. If not swimming, what sport?
I hate sports.
I feel so bad.
For some reason, tennis came to my head, but I've got the coordination of a seal, so I'm honestly probably nothing. I just sit there and lay on the sofa. That would be
that's a quality answer. Be honest, I like it. Sweet or savoury?
Sweet, all day, every day.
So chocolate or sweets?
Chocolate, always chocolate.
Yeah, okay.
I would quite happily skip a main and have a big fat sundae and be perfectly fine.
Oh, nice. Is that your favourite dessert, a sundae?
Absolutely, yeah. TGI Friday.
Okay.
Sundae. Very specific.
Oh, wow. Okay, I like it. Favourite pool in the UK?
Ponds Forge.
Is it?
Always, yeah. Always.
It's a staple pool. I think it might be mine.
Just love the pool, love the fact that you can come out the pool, just go to restaurants. I love the fact that it just had a really nice homely feel to it. I remember going there and I didn't feel nervous racing there because I knew the surroundings, I knew the pool, and even the silly things like the changing rooms. Like everything was just comfortable. I miss that pool kind of in a way.
Yeah, and I can understand why. It's not like the prettiest pool, but it's absolutely one of the best, if not the best. I agree with you there, definitely. So. Theme parks or water park?
Water park, definitely a water park.
Okay.
Yeah, good
nice.
Fun.
Yeah. Favourite swimming brand?
Speedo. Always raced in speed. Well, trained in Funkita towards the end, but always raced in speed. Never raced in anything but. Funny, isn't it, how you just seem to get things that you would never ever venture away from. To me, if I didn't race in a speedo, I was like, I don't feel like myself. I feel like I'm letting myself down. It doesn't feel like me.
I get it though. I get it. It's nice that you had a brand that you believed in and it was great for you, and you figure it out, don't you? But speedo, okay. Individual bronze or relay gold? I love asking this one to people.
Relay gold in an absolute
relay gold.
Yeah, no doubt. There is just something so special that when you come from being in an individual sport and you only ever get the chance to race as a team in a relay, just any achievement as part of that relay team, even making a final, is something that is so incredible and so unique at that point in time. Loved relays, absolutely loved relays. Watching them racing, all of them, best things ever. And right at the end of a meet as well, just
It's always last. It's always last.
Yeah. I don't know. And you'll probably relate as well when you're part of a team and you watch your relay, like I said, even if you're in the stands and you're watching your team in the relay, the spirit that comes out, I mean, you might be surrounded by people that have had the worst races of their entire careers, but as soon as they're watching a relay, it's just something takes over.
Definitely, yeah, no, yeah. It's definitely something special to be a part of. So I like your answer there. Favorite Disney film is the last one. It's important.
Mulan.
Okay.
A very, very old classic. Very old.
I like
classic.
it.
Kind of like the whole woman defying the odds kind of vibe that I get from Mulan. Really cute characters, really funny, and just a lot to be learned from it, really.
Yeah, it is a great film. I think they've redone it, but I've not heard great things. So I can't
betray the original. I can't do it.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. Okay, that's quick fire done. I want to get straight into these questions because I know there's so much to you, Amy. So we'll get straight into it. Why swimming? Because you said before I hate sport, so it's just going to be interesting, I feel.
So I know that people that know me know this story pretty inside out. So I went on a family holiday to Australia with my nan and my granddad, and my aunt in Australia has a pool. I was 3.5 at the time. I couldn't swim. I wasn't one of these kids that went to like baby lessons and just knew how to swim fresh from the womb. Couldn't do it. So we went on holiday. My granddad said, you know what, when we get home, she's going to have to learn how to swim. Such an important life skill, should never ever be taken for granted. Like, I'm a massive advocate of just water safety. So that was that. My granddad actually passed away on the flight home. So his kind of legacy was for me to learn how to swim. We was like, there's nothing else. Wow. My family were like, there's nothing else we can sort of honour for him other than Amy learning to swim. So we kind of went in with the attitude that I would learn to swim just for safety on holidays, that kind of stuff. My parents could selfishly relax by the pool and I could just splash about in the shallow end and I'd be okay. And I didn't really take to it that well until I was about 9. And then my mum contacted a lady called Michelle Weltman, who was very, very involved with disability sport. Michelle was looking for a very certain type of swimmer. She was looking for an S10 butterfly swimmer to complete her relay team. I ended up being an S9 IM swimmer, so a little bit off the target, but you know, these things happen. Met Michelle and things literally spiraled from there. I mean, ended up getting selected for the England talent programs, and then before I knew it, I was on programs like actual GB programs. You know what it's like once you're in that world, it is so easy to get caught up and everything kind of just gets set out for you. So in a way, it was kind of chosen for me. It wasn't really one of these things I thought I'm actively going to go out and do it, until I actually saw Ellie Simmonds race in Beijing, and I was standing in front of my TV at 10 and I was like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. Wow. I want to go to the Paralympics. I want to do this. So whether I meant it at the time, I don't know, but I was really lucky to have parents that did support me in that. And managed to get where I wanted to go.
Wow. I'm so glad I asked that question. Got goosebumps as well when you talked about your granddad. That was, I mean, I'm sorry to hear that, obviously, but you'll have done him so proud in what you've done. And, you know, yeah, no, definitely. There's no think about it. I didn't know him at all, obviously, but I 100% know that he would just he'll be loving it and what you've done. So huge well done for that. And you know, what a great start. Normally it's I learned to swim and then I just sort of carried on, really.
Yeah, you know what? This is what I will say, especially with the Paralympics. Whoever you talk to, everyone's got their unique story. So obviously the Paralympics is a bit different from the able-bodied route in that you might have people who are ex-army and, you know, they've been wounded in battle and they've had amputations because of their injuries. And all of a sudden they found themselves on a world stage of sport. But that's not something that's an everyday story. So my story doesn't really compare much to those kind of people. But I do agree, it's always exciting to hear how people kind of got into it and why would you choose it? Would you choose it again? That kind of thing.
Definitely. And I think, you know, you've just said there about ex-army and stuff like that. And everyone's story is amazing. And no story sort of is better than the other. Like I said, I just got goosebumps from listening to that. So it's something that...
I'm glad you didn't fall asleep. That's a good thing. I'm glad
I definitely didn't fall asleep. I won't be falling asleep for sure. now we touched on, I messaged you the other day and said, is there anything you want to particularly speak about? And you said, no, just go for it, whatever. But you did mention I'd pre-race routine, pre-race rituals. So I thought maybe there's something in there that she's got that's she does differently or not. Maybe there's not, I don't know, but I just wanted to ask about your pre-race routine, really.
So this is one thing that when I've watched your like these kind of videos before, I've been so interested, because there are things that I remember you had Brianna on, and I know Brianna a little bit at Loughborough, and like you kind of pick up on people's things, but it's interesting if they kind of align with what you expect them to say. So my race routine, wherever I was in the world, I would always start the day with a bowl of Cocoa Pops. Always.
I love it.
Always.
I love it.
I mean, like, took Cocoa Pops to Canada to race at Worlds, took them to Rio, like they were my thing. That was my thing. I packed my night the bag before, all that kind of stuff, so already organised. Got up, had my Cocoa Pops in the morning, and that was it. My mind was like at ease. Also sat watching BBC News because I found that quite relaxing to watch.
Yeah, fair enough, each to their own.
So boring, but kind of took my mind off the racing, and I just found it really, really mellowing and soothing to watch. Would then make my way to the pool with warm-up, but would make sure I had the same pair of lucky socks and lucky knickers. So when I first started swimming, the first medal that I won, I think it was only a little regional competition, it wasn't much at all. I was wearing a pair of Union Jack knickers, and I bought them in bulk after this competition. When I say I bought this underwear, there is no word of a lie, no word of a lie. So yeah, I had like lucky underwear, lucky socks. I used to fiddle with the block quite a bit, so I used to make sure I sort of jigged it 3 times to make sure it's definitely secure. Silly things, like I always used to like do a streamline behind the block and stretch my arms up. But if I didn't do those things, my whole day just felt out of sync, completely out of sync. And I'd have funny rituals about where I would eat, depending on where I was competing. So if I was in Manchester, the last day of a competition, I'd go to that tiny little Japanese place by the pool.
Yeah. Next to the car park?
Yeah, next to the car park.
Yeah.
Always went there on the last day of racing, because that was kind of like the end of race treat. If I was up in Sheffield, I'd always have a jacket potato in the food court between heats and finals. Like that kind of stuff just really set in over the years. And as soon as I said that question to you, I was like, I better start thinking, because there are probably things that I didn't even realise I was doing at the time. But now I'm like, you sound like a crazy person. Like how many times I would roll my lats on the foam roller, like everything was so precise and so in line. But you know what it's like, you can't help it. Once you're used to that, you do become a creature of habit.
Yeah, definitely. You've got to do what's right for you. And, you know, you just said I sound like a crazy person. First of all, we love crazy on Quigley Sport, so you'll fit right in here. And second of all, the crazier the better, I think. It puts people off if you start doing crazy stuff anyway, because they think, oh, what are they doing over there?
I remember being one of those people, and when people get really worked up in the call-up room, mainly the boys, I'd say, the boys would really like heavily slap each other, and I'd be like, oh God, what are they doing? Do I need to do that? And I'd start like tapping myself a little bit and be like, do I look like I'm doing a good thing now? Like, is this
it's good to hear that. It's nice to hear some of your race rituals, and I'm sure people that are watching will be like, yeah, I used to do weird stuff, or maybe I should start doing weird stuff. So you might be inspiring a generation here to have
lucky
a jacket
socks.
potato at Ponds Forge.
Away. Lucky
socks. Lucky socks. I agree. I had a pair. I had a few pairs actually. I did the same as you, and bulk bought a few pairs. The next question I'm personally very interested in, not that I'm not interested in the whole thing, obviously I am, but this was just from me, and this is you switched nationalities fairly late on, and I just wanted to know a bit more about that, really, and why you did it and how it was, the process and all that sort of stuff.
So it was a difficult decision to make, obviously switching country of representation. Really hard. Had a really great time on the GB team, but it was slowly becoming more political and less about the sport. So like I could delve into it and, you know, go on and on and on, but that was the crux of it for me. It wasn't about the sport anymore. It was about the medals and just the whole I wasn't fitting in with how the team was progressing. So I have Irish grandparents, and in the lead up to Rio, I was kind of thinking, oh gosh, could I change country now? Could I maybe race for the Republic then? Left it a little bit late, so I thought, you know what, I'll go to Rio, kind of adjust from there, and then if I want to make the decision, I can do that. Takes a while to transfer nations, so 2017 I kind of had a little bit of time out of the pool, whilst that was kind of switching over, went off the radar a little bit, was still racing at like counties and stuff, wasn't doing international stuff on purpose. Joined the Irish team early 2019, and oh my god, what a team, such a lovely, honest, grounded group of athletes to be around. And I was only with them for a very short amount of time, but what I learned from them and the passion they had for that sport, I was like, this is for me what the sport was about. If you take the medals and you take all of the plaudits out of it, what it comes down to is the pure passion. And I've never seen it in any other group of athletes, unlike the athletes I was with on that team. They were really fantastic, took me in from day one, just amazing. And I just seemed to fit much better with that team. Like I said, it was a bit of an elephant in the room for some people, but it was the right decision for me. And I think that's what you've got to do. You've got to do what counts. And if you see opportunity elsewhere and you think, do you know what, I'm going to gamble on it and see where it takes me, then why not take the risk?
Yeah. And it sounds like the right decision for you, and you know, definitely. Only you can make that decision.
It was a lovely way. It was a really, really lovely way to end my career, I'd say, with such a nice group of people. Yeah. And you know, that you must obviously look back, and it sounds like you do, and just think, yeah, it's the right decision. And like you say, you've got to do that sometimes. Yeah, like I said, enjoyed my time on the GB team, but it was kind of getting to a point where I was like, this is not a bit of me anymore.
Yeah. And it's like, I suppose, moving club. Like, you know, I moved clubs and I had a great time at each one, but it was just time to go to the next one.
Yeah,
and obviously it's on a bigger scale. Well, but it's the same idea.
This is what my parents were kind of saying. They was like, if you was in the professional world and you was in a job and you wasn't happy somewhere, no one would think twice of the fact that you'd moved to a different job. And that's what I kind of had to detach myself from the emotional side and all of my teammates that were on that team, and think, but this is my choice. This is for the best decision for me. And at the end of the day, it's not really going to affect anyone else but myself. So kind of made that transition. Again, had such supportive parents, really, really lucky in that respect.
Oh, brilliant. No, it's great to hear that, and interesting to hear really about switching nationalities and stuff like that. And I'm glad it was worked out and it's the right decision.
Yeah.
And just well done for being brave and making that decision. Obviously, you did medal in the 200 IM at the Olympics, which is incredible. I would like you to rank the strokes in order of favourite to least favourite, but then also your best to your worst strokes.
Okay. So favourite, definitely definitely freestyle, front crawl, whatever you want to call it. Backstroke, fly, and breaststroke will always be the bottom for me. Like, how people naturally move their legs on breaststroke, I do not understand.
Crazy, right?
It's just so unnatural, Lauren. Like, what?
I know. I always wanted to be a breaststroker, and it just never worked out because I just couldn't do that with my feet.
No, I wouldn't wish it upon anyone to be a natural breaststroker. I don't think. Nope.
No.
And then in terms of best, I'd probably say freestyle, fly, backstroke, and then breaststroke. Surprisingly. Okay. Yeah. So
makes me sad that backstrokes fall into third, but okay.
Lauren, again, like the technique. Do you know what my main issue was? I'll be very honest. You know the whole rotation thing with backstroke. Obviously, I've got a left hand. That side was perfect. Trying to get my left stump over and trying to turn myself back, I was like, this is so hard.
And you still medalled in the 200 IM, so you must be pretty good at it, even though you don't like it.
200 IM though, like such a good race.
One of the hardest events to do, in my opinion, 200 IM.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Oh no, I think
because you have to sprint every stroke.
I think 400 AM and 200 fly, without a doubt, the worst event ever.
No.
Yeah, I think 200 IM. I think you must be a tough cookie to have medalled in that event, because that is not an easy event. That's sprinting every stroke. There's no breaks in that.
When you put it like that, well, if you were to see my breaststroke though, you'd appreciate that wasn't my sprint.
Was that a bit of a rest? All right. I'd love to know the hardest set you've ever done.
Hardest set. So I'm not sure if you had the same at any of your clubs, but we always had a challenge week at Christmas every single year, and then to finish that we would have a set where we could do 25 400 IMs, or we could do 110 100s freestyle.
Right.
And that 110 100s will forever be the hardest thing I've ever done. Not physically, because you know what,
mentally.
It was off like an 85 cycle or something. So as long as you got into the groove of it, you were fine. But mentally getting to 50 and thinking, oh my God, I'm not even halfway. And just even before you even got into the pool, just thinking, I've got 3 hours of basically non-stop swimming.
Yeah.
But kind of one of those sessions that, although it was the hardest, you got out and you just felt on top of the world, because she was like, I smashed that. I didn't think I could do it. But somehow every year you just kind of kept churning it out. But one set that I always struggled with, and I didn't feel great after, we used to do a set of 15 400s. So we used to do 5 4 3 2 1, and then like other ones at the end. And I just hated it. I don't know.
Mentally or physically?
I think a bit of both, if I'm honest. I think that's the only set where I'd really let my mentality beat me and almost tell myself I was tired. Yeah, definitely. And I remember just the sinking feeling in my stomach as soon as it went on the board. Like, I think every swimmer has that set they see and they think, oh my goodness.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure everyone watching thinks exactly the same. Like, everyone has, you're right, everyone will have that session.
What was yours, out of interest? What was your least favourite set?
Well, do you know what? There's, like you said, there's so many. The longer ones were never too much of an issue. We had the Christmas challenges. We did do, I think there was one in there. There was one at Stockport that was 100 hundreds free, but every 10th one was fly, and they were off 75 base, so that was that was meaty. I don't know, there's been,
I feel like all the northern clubs just seem to get meaty sets all the time. Like, I remember my coach being like, we're all wussy down in the south, like if you want a hard set, just stop.
Well,
like,
you know,
there's no doubt in my mind that you were like like balls of steel in your clubs, like crazy stuff.
Yeah, we used to do some crazy stuff, but I mean, there's a lot. But this isn't about me anyway. This is about you. And my next question will be a bit low, and it's the lowest moment in your career.
Lowest moment in my career? I'd probably say my Paralympic bronze at one point. Definitely. It took me a long while to accept that a medal of any kind is fantastic, that kind of mentality. But for that race, I went into the final ranked first. And I know that people say whenever you see a final sheet, you might as well rip it up and throw it into the wind, because no one can predict what's going to happen. But for me, like, this was 8 years of me thinking, oh my gosh, and the pressure of going into that final and thinking I'm ranked first, and nothing else is going to be acceptable in anyone else's eyes. I put a lot of pressure on myself, which meant, one, I didn't enjoy the race, and then two, I just probably didn't perform to the very best that I could. So I got out and I just sobbed my heart out, and it was a bit of relief, a bit of gutted, kind of impressed that I'd managed to get a medal, because at the end of the day, all I wanted was a medal. I just wanted to come home with something. So that was a really, really hard race to navigate my way around. So I'd say at one point that was definitely the lowest, without a doubt. Yeah. So you know what it's like just any race where you do worse than you expected, but you've kind of still got something to celebrate. It's a real roller coaster of emotions. And like I said, it took me ages to get round, ages and ages, because we're kind of brought up in sport with the idea that anything other than a gold medal, anything other than first place, you've lost, haven't you? Like silver is first loser. Yeah. And I hate that. I hate that. I would never say that to someone, but we're a lot harder on ourselves than we would be other people. So, you know, it's one of those things. But I'm fine with it now. That's amazing.
That's great to hear, and that's really interesting to listen to, because I think that's something that no one's brought up on the Corey before, and no one's really brought that up to me before. I don't think in person really, and I think it's so common. And as soon as you said you're a bronze medal at the Paralympics, I registered straight away. I thought, I can understand that without you even saying anything.
Yeah,
and it's upsetting for me to hear as an outsider that that's the way you felt, because I mean, a Paralympic bronze medal is like, wow. And everyone watching will feel that way. Sure.
Yeah,
of course.
I was like, this isn't what I trained for, though. I didn't train to be third place. I trained to be the best in the world. So, but you do have to kind of wrap your way around it. And, you know, there are people that sometimes won't even make a Paralympic team. So I had to kind of sit down with myself and think, Amy, you're just acting like a brat. That's plain and simple. It just wasn't your time, and that's just the way things go. Sport is all
and I don't think you can say acting like a brat. You know, I think it's absolutely valid how you felt. You know, it's a sport where it's brutal and you put everything in. You know, this isn't something that you just put a bit of time in now and again. It's like every single day. It's not every 4 years. It's every day. Yeah, and I'm glad you feel good about it now and everything's all good, because it takes a long time to get over things like that as well. And so, you know, but I think as well, it's everything. I like to believe everything happens for a reason, and the way that you're speaking about it now, and you can help people with that as well. I just think, like, just listen to you talk and stuff like that. It's we don't know each other too well, but you know, I'm super proud of you just sat here listening to you talk. And I think what you've been through is amazing. You know, you've been through highs and lows, like everyone. But yeah, I'm glad you're proud of yourself now, because seriously, that is insane what you've done. So if I was to flip that though and say the highest moment of your career, would it be the same day? You know, is it one of those?
I don't think it would be. No, I don't think it would be, because we spoke about relays a little bit before, didn't we? And for me, being part of a relay team at Worlds in 2013, we broke a world record. I just turned 15. I was on top of the world. Like, I was smashing all my events. And then this relay where we won at the end was the absolute cherry on top of the cake for me. Like, even to think about it now, I get so overwhelmed and so goosebumpy, because it was just that special to be part of. And it almost made it more special because it wasn't just about me. I was also sharing the podium with 3 other girls that absolutely worked their backsides off for it. It was an amazing team to be part of. We were all supportive of each other, and to be able to celebrate it was amazing. Really, really amazing. So that will forever be my favourite part of my sporting career, without a doubt.
I love that.
I don't even think twice.
I love that. That's fantastic. And Claire Cashmore's just put woo.
Yeah, Claire Cashmore's part of the team, you might have guessed.
Yeah. Claire's a legend, so it's great to see her comment in there. That's a great memory, and like you say, for it to be a team event, it's makes it that little bit more special, really.
Definitely.
So you said you retired this year in February. And how old are you? 21?
22.
22. Were you 21 when you retired?
Yes.
So some would say that is young. Swimming is a very young sport. So
I'd definitely say it's young.
Yeah. And swimming is a young sport. So you start young, and so it feels like it might be a young age to retire. But in swimming terms, it's not too young. Do you think it is young to retire? Why did you retire? Like, what was the reason for retiring at that age?
So I do think it's young, because even like now more so, we're seeing athletes go like up into their early 30s, and people peak and trough at different times, like that kind of stuff. But like you said, I raced for over a decade. I started racing when I was 10, so that was 10 whole years of my life dedicated just to swimming, competing, traveling the world, training, as well as studying at school. I actually struggled with really bad shoulder injuries the summer of last year, which meant I could only race one event at World Champs. And everything kind of then was like, I was falling into a bit of a rut. I was like, this feels more like a chore. This doesn't feel like it's always felt to me. I didn't have that fire in my belly. I wasn't turning up to training thinking, oh my gosh, I need to smash this. And then at the same time, I was offered a really great opportunity at work. So I got offered the solicitor apprenticeship, which means in 4 years I'll be a qualified lawyer. So I kind of had that going on in the background. As well as that, there are some things within the Paralympic movement, the whole classification thing, that wasn't sitting so well with me. And just that whole idea that it was becoming less and less about the sport and much more political than I personally would have liked to have been involved in. So there were lots of different aspects that were kind of niggling away. But the main thing for me was, I've got this real opportunity to make a life for myself outside of sport, or I could equally carry on doing sport. It kind of came to that. And I went with the one where I wanted a life past sport, because I sat down, I thought, do you know what? I'm proud of what I've achieved. I don't have that fire anymore to want to go and want to do more. And I kind of just made my peace with it over a number of weeks. And it felt, I knew as soon as I made that decision, you just get a feeling that it's the right one for you. I thought, I've got a shoulder injury. This has set me back. Realistically, if I want to make it to Tokyo, it's going to be such a struggle on the back of this injury, as well as working and studying full time. So like I said, hard decision to make, but you know when it's your time. You definitely know.
Yeah.
There's just something that everything feels so much clearer and lighter when you've made peace with that decision. And unless you're the other side of that, it seems like a really, really odd kind of process to get your head around. But once you do come out like the fog of it all, you just feel like a different person. And I can see you smiling away, because you know it's true. It's just one of those things. It really is.
It's you definitely know when your time is ready and the fire goes and all that. I can relate to all that that good stuff. Can I say good stuff? I suppose I can.
I'd say so. It's good now. It's good now.
It's good now. Yeah. It's a scary thought, and because obviously it's been your life, but you seem to have done great with it.
I was like, am I losing? Because at school and stuff, you're known as like the swimmer, and at work, I was like, I swam, and it kind of felt like I was losing a bit of my identity, and you had to sit down and realise that you're so much more than a sport, and whatever you've achieved in that sport and over your lifetime, no one's going to take that away just because you choose not to go to the pool every day or race anymore. Those things are things you've earned. So that was something that I really had to sort of take on and think, I'm not any less of Amy because I don't swim anymore. I'm just a different kind of Amy now.
Yeah, of course. And so have you struggled at all with the retirement, or are you like completely at peace, like, yeah, I'm out, see you later?
I kind of say I'm at peace now. Like, there's not one bit of me that thinks, oh, should I have carried on for that little bit longer? Oh, should I have pushed it? And I think that's because I've been very lucky and I've got my job. So I haven't kind of fallen into this abyss that I think a lot of elite sports people struggle with when they leave sport and they don't kind of have a backup plan to go straight into. They do feel a bit lost for that period of time, but because I have my job, I didn't have that chance or that opportunity to feel lost. It was just the idea of moving from one thing into another. My friends didn't value me any less. My family didn't value me any less. Nothing changed. This is the thing. Nothing in my life changed. At that point in time, it felt like the end of my world, and like my whole world was just going to collapse around me. But the sun still came up every day. I was still fine. Like I was still, and it's so, like you said, it's so strange to think that something that once was your whole life, you can almost let go of and just think, ugh. And then obviously with all this COVID stuff, I'm like, actually, that wasn't bad timing, was it? That's not. Could have been worse. It could have been much worse.
Yeah.
So,
I was just going to say, perfect timing to go as well.
I'm part psychic. I saw this coming.
If you could let us know a couple of things that are going to happen in the future, just give us a shout. It'd be great.
I'll get the crystal ball out.
Okay, do it off camera and then let us know afterwards. Inspirations, Amy. You mentioned your granddad at the start, so I'm sure that was a big one and has been throughout the career. But have you had any other, maybe in your family or outside of family? Or I know you mentioned you watched Ellie at the Olympics as well and stuff like that.
I'd say Ellie was a massive, massive one for me. Absolutely huge. And then to be on a team with her and be alongside someone that you looked up to for so long, I was very, very lucky, because there's not a lot of athletes that get that opportunity, in all honesty. But I'd also say my sister was kind of a bit of an inspiration for me. So my sister's 3 and a bit years younger than me. So I've always been the older one. So I felt like I kind of had to achieve, and I had to step up and achieve things so that she would know that she can also step up and achieve things. Does that make sense? Like, I wanted to be a good example for my sister, and so far so good. I think my inspiration maybe comes from my parents. They work hard. They've achieved everything just through hard work. You know, my parents are from East London. They weren't born with silver spoons in their mouths. Everything they've earned, they've worked really hard for. So I've kind of always had that instilled in me. But I do think there are surrounding people that you kind of bring inspiration from. I'm sure there's other people that I've looked at and thought, oh my gosh. I know the AB guys when I was younger a lot. Like I mentioned, like you were British champs, like Jess Fuller, like them kind of people. I was like, oh my God, like superstars.
Oh.
Really, like 12-year-old me would be screaming about talking to you now, Lauren. I don't think you realise. Big deal, really big.
And then when you get off here, you go, oh God.
No.
That's lovely to hear. Thanks for that. You know, it's nice to hear that I did some sort of. I'm going to take all the credit for your medal. Actually, that's all me. No, and you're right. You know, you have a few inspirations in your career, and I think throughout your career, different people obviously have a massive impact at different times, and it's great that you had those people in your career. I'm going to upset all but one now involved in your swimming career, and that was your favourite ever teammate.
Favourite ever teammate? Do you know what? I think I'm going to have to say Claire. Like,
really? She's going to love that.
I don't know if she's still here, but looking back on it, definitely Claire. She was so much fun. Claire has always been very approachable. She was an athlete rep for us at one point. She was just she's always had such an innocence about her, such like a fun way of looking at things. And she worked hard. She worked really, really hard. She wasn't one of these people that kind of got everything given to her on a plate. Was really lucky to be part of a few relays with Claire, still do like the odd bits and bobs within the limb difference community with Claire. Really genuine, really honest, just lovely to be around. That's the first one that comes to my mind. And I think because I looked up to her in a way from when I was so young. She had an arm missing like me. Everything just kind of naturally built from that. So yeah, definitely.
Amazing. And what a brilliant one to have.
That was really hard. Really, really hard.
Yeah. Sorry if we've offended everyone else that you train with.
You do count. You do count.
You're going to come off this and be like, texting me like, oh, them as well. But no, Claire's a fantastic one, and she's super fun to be around. And
exactly.
those sorts of people in your career are, I always say, they're the kindest superstars, because, you know, they don't necessarily have to go out their way to be nice and make sure everyone's okay, and especially when they're the older ones on the team, but they're the ones that, like you've just brought up Claire, you know, and at the time Claire would have just been being nice. She didn't necessarily realise what massive part she played in your career. I've got one of mine coming on the last episode of season 2. Which I'm really looking forward to, because that's someone that was huge in my career, who was, you know, again, one of the kind of superstars, and they're really important in swimming journeys, and they don't realise it until the end. But yeah, no, lovely to have brought her up. One piece of advice, Amy, for young Amy starting to go into, you know, senior swimming.
I would say make the most of every single opportunity. And I'm talking about the whole spectrum. winning medals is fantastic, but make the most of, like, you know, club socials, make the most of training camps, you know, when you had downtime and you got to sort of chill with your teammates a little bit, make the most of those things. Any opportunity that comes your way, like, just make the most of it, because there are so many doors that can be opened and so many amazing memories that I was really, really lucky to make, because I realized I was lucky to be there in the first place. So if that's one thing that I would definitely maintain, just embrace the whole journey, the highs, the lows, the good parts, bad parts, all of it, because you're never going to get that time back. You can learn so much from it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And you know, when you were younger, when I was younger, swimming and stuff like that, you hear people say stuff like that and you go, yeah, sure, you know, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's so true, and it's only when you get to the end of your career and you finish that you think, oh, I wish I'd have, you know, listened when someone said that to me when I was younger.
And I think it's just like I said, like the whole whirlwind thing. Like, before you know it, you might have been competing at counties, and then, like, before you know it, you're at regionals, and then you're at nationals, and then you're at international meets, and then you're all over the world. And you sit back and you think, not until you've got the time to sit back and think, you think, oh my God, like, all of that has happened, and it literally went in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Literally.
No, it's so true. It's so true. Last question, and I feel it's a really important one. Obviously, you mentioned able-bodied swimmers, and you always looked up to them and stuff like that. And I've seen you post about having one arm, and you were always worried about this arm and all that sort of stuff. At what point did you go, actually, this is me, you know, I'm proud of this, you know, and this is, I don't want to be hiding my arm and stuff like that? Because I think it's really interesting to hear, you know, these stories, and to hear the moment where you just went, oh, do you know what? This is me. Like, I'm going to, you know, just go for it and post the picture and not worry about it and stuff like that.
I would say a massive turning point for me was when I made my first international team in 2011. And up until then, like, I'd kind of been in a regional disability club, so I knew there were other people out there with different disabilities, and I knew what they could achieve. But then being on that international team, and I was in Berlin, I was on the junior team, and there was the senior team, and suddenly there was an entire poolside of people just like me. And I was like, I haven't got to hide anything. Like, I'm with people that are the very best at what they do, and I don't see them walking around with their hands in their pockets or purposely wearing long trousers so they don't have to hide their prosthetic leg. And again, I'd probably say over that kind of year, Claire, without knowing it, was quite instrumental in this too anyway, because she'd make a lot of jokes about her hand, or she'd, like, come up and give you an arm massage with her eye.
She's done that. The eye massage.
It was kind of that kind of thing. I was like, actually, you can have a lot of fun with this. Yeah. You definitely can, because I just turned 30. Well, I was 12 in Berlin, was turning 13, approaching London 2012. So I was like, I just need to have fun with this. This is all you can do, is have fun with it. So yeah, just kind of took the bull by the horns, started thinking, yeah, this is cool. Went through a bit of I'd probably blame it mostly on social media, and kind of there's this ideal on social media. So a couple of years ago, I went back to hiding my arm. Would purposely wear, like, long sleeves and blazers and stuff, so I'd never have to have the conversation about an arm if I was out. And then again, like, something, I don't know what it was, something last year just clicked to me, and I thought, why on earth am I making more of an effort to hide it when it'd be so much easier just to be open with it? So there was kind of two turning points. So at one point I was really pleased with it, that kind of switched off late teens, and now absolutely fine. I think everyone, some people have big ears, some people have big noses, some people wear glasses, some people have blonde hair, some people have dark hair. Like, everyone's different, and that's what's so special. We'd all be boring if we were carbon copies of each other. So it's kind of that approach that I've got to take now. And just because you're different, it's not always a bad thing.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more, and it's, you know, it's super inspirational to hear you talk about it, and again, people will be able to relate, and it's these conversations that need to happen, really, to get everything out there and just be you. And,
definitely.
You know, that's brilliant. Thank you so much, Amy, for coming on
for having me. I've really enjoyed it.
Talking. Yeah, no, it's been great. There's been so much in there that I'm probably going to watch this back and just enjoy it myself, to be honest. No, super inspirational story, and you know, been through a lot, but you know, how proud must your family and friends be, and me, and you know, it's great to hear. So
Oh,
it's been
no.
a pleasure to have you on.
No, thanks for doing this, honestly, Lauren. I think you're in such a unique position that if you can get this kind of stuff out to the younger sort, sorry, I cut off. That if you can get this kind of stuff to the younger swimmers out there and get them to realise that like peaks and troughs are okay, and you know, differences are okay. Like there's so much you're doing with these lives, and I don't think you realise it either. So well done to you. Like it's so impressive, and to keep it up as well, week after week, really, really good.
No, thank you. That's lovely, and I'll pay you later for saying that. But yeah, no, thank you everyone for tuning in and watching. It means a lot, and what a great episode you've managed to catch there. So yeah, thanks, Amy. Good luck with everything you're doing from now. I'm sure we'll be in touch. Yeah, and I'll speak to you soon, and I'll catch everyone on the next episode.
See you later.
Thanks,
Bye.
Amy. Bye.